How much suffering am I willing to endure to get better at my craft and see through my goals? Evidently a lot. Welcome to Roaming, a new series on my channel where I bring you along my travels around the world as I look to capture my bucket list images. Whether it's portraits, fashion, or street photography, there is so much self-discovery to be had when you exercise your passion abroad. With this series, I hope to share the process, passion, and soul of that experience with you. In this episode, we make a quick stop in London, a city I've been to many times, but still find novelty in. Let's get this started. Bourdain made the idea of layovers sexy. This notion that you can make a quick pit stop in a place before your destination and recharge from its atmosphere and culture. That has a grand seduction to it, especially if you travel often. And that's why I elected to make a stop in London for a day before a 3-week stint across India. I wanted to squeeze just a little bit more out of this trip, and stopping in one of my favorite cities in the world would do just the trick. Here's the thing about London that makes it especially attractive to me. You have this historic city that's rooted in industrialism, monarchy, and violence that's being bombarded by multiculturalism, technology, and rebellion against the status quo. It's this image of a woman in a hijab walking freely through Hyde Park. And while that might terrify some bigots, I find it incredibly poetic. That is to say, if I can find a way to sneak a day in London and take some more pictures, I'm gonna do it. One of the dope things about pursuing your creativity with intention and on a regular basis is you get to meet other like-minded people that share the same passion. Producing YouTube videos for nearly 2 years, I got to develop a network of creators all over the world. A group of us that genuinely want each other to do better and do well for ourselves. Late last year, I connected with a creator that was from LA and now living in London, Jay. And he also happens to be a fellow Lakers fan. And we exchanged messages and, watched each other's videos and all of that. But when he found out that I was looking for, well, I guess you could say, antique camera, he put me in touch with a good friend of his, Vichet. And you start to see how this network grows. Well, let me tell you, this guy has to be one of the nicest people I've ever met, let alone one of the nicest people I got to do business with. In early 2020, I was looking to get one of my dream cameras, the Leica M6, and spending $3,000 to $5,000 on a vintage camera is a precarious endeavor. So thank God I met this guy. It was like having a sommelier for cameras who is genuinely driven to find you the best deal possible. After an overnight flight from Toronto, I met him at the airport and he introduced me to my new baby. Now listen, I'm not gonna turn this into a camera review because, well, I'm already working on that video, so stay tuned for that. But when I first got to use this camera, I will say, it was a motherfucker. Now, when do you decide to put in the work? When the conditions are right? When you're in the mood? Coming off an overnight flight that was previously canceled, wearing a 40-pound backpack with a 10-pound duffel bag, it was more than fair enough for me to just kick it a little bit and rest throughout the day, right? Just eat, relax, and let the hours roll away. It was more than fair. I mean, I had plenty of work waiting for me in about 24 hours anyway, but herein lies the difference between people that see through and garner more success than others. A line of demarcation, if you will. Are you willing to create an opportunity in the most inopportune times? Listen, a painter has to paint, an engineer has to build things, and a photographer needs to take pictures, especially when they don't feel creative. If I ever find myself in a city that isn't home, I'm gonna be taking pictures every single day that I'm there. And this takes a little bit of grit. You have to struggle a little bit, both physically and mentally, to develop the skills that you so desperately need to cultivate the real talent required to see through your vision, these marginal gains that add up over time. And that is exactly why I decided to take a 5-hour photo walk in between two red-eye flights. All right, so here we are. Just got off at Piccadilly Circus Station, and which store are we going to? What's it called?
I think this one's called Camera World.
Camera World, all right. I'm gonna try and find a filter for this new M6 and try not to freeze off my chicken legs here. Because I thought I was gonna be in India at this time. But hey, if you got 4 hours to kill, why not, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's see. And we're gonna test out this M6 as well. And I gotta say, shooting film with a GoPro mounted on, not easy. Not easy, folks. I'm sorry for some of the sample shots you're about to see. I profusely apologize for this. I'm primarily a portrait photographer, but street photography is my second love. This idea of creating these fascinating moments out of almost the ordinary, it's something I find really interesting. Can you create an entire story in a single photograph that you have almost no control over? That's what I'd argue most of us street photographers are trying to do when we're exercising our passion. How do you approach this? Well, I can only speak for myself, but it really comes back to seeing. And I mean really seeing, opening up your gaze, silencing the distractions, and seeing the frame compose itself. Where is the light coming from? Are there any interesting lines that are attracting your attention? Who is the subject? And is there a separation between them and the background or foreground? And is there a spicy color or contrast that's really gonna pull this image together? These are some of the things that are running through my mind almost like a mantra when I'm out doing street photography. It's usually a solo sport for me with music to tune out some of the distractions, but these are the thoughts that I go through my head over and over again when I'm going out and taking pictures. Despite all this, I will share one secret with you guys. Most of the pictures I take are dog shit. Why go through all this though? Why spend this time to work on a second discipline? Why spend all this money on gear and film when this isn't your main priority or income driver? And why bother looking at these photographs when you could just stick to what you're good at? Our perception of intermediate failure has a profound impact on our actual long-term success. If you're asking me, this long, tiring, confusing, challenging road to success is paved by strategic failures. You must endure failure to succeed. Now, here's the thing. You can't go around just looking for failure. You can't artificially create that because where your sight goes, your body goes as well. So you can't just go look to fail. What you need to do is strive for success. And if failure comes and knocks on your door, well, you invite that son of a bitch for some tea. Failure is human. Failure is growth. Failure is life itself. And here's the thing that might sound a little crazy. Failure is success. Just as a wave is water or a leaf is a plant, failure is success. When you fundamentally believe that, failure has no negative weight to it. And the judgment of others about your failures, well, it just has no merit. And what a superpower that becomes when you have no regard for what people think of your failures. What would you do if you absolutely did not care what other people thought of your missteps? I believe that most artists will create work that ranges from passable to absolutely terrible. But the greats, they will have this tiny sliver that absolutely shines. It shines so bright that it just illuminates the frame and the story, and you can't even see the work and mistakes and missteps that came before it. No one will ever know the work it took you or I to get to where we're going, and that's okay. So long as we put in the work when it matters most and reframe our failures as bricks for success, we will see through our wildest goals. The only question is, are you willing? you guys so much for checking out this episode of Roaming. If you haven't already, go back and check out episode 1 where we go to Mumbai. And by the way, if you want to support the journey and future episodes, you can check out my print shop. There's a link in the description where I'm selling some of my limited prints. And lastly, shout out to Jay and Vichet. Thank you guys so much. I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. And guys, thank you again for watching. I'll see you in the next one.